All right, so come back to me here. We're going to take a look at some more challenging multi-step equations, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here with that. Because, you know, there are always exceptions to the rule. And so we're going to see some of those exceptions on this page. All right. So let's start here with number 1. N divided by -2 plus 2 is equal to -2. All right, that's interesting. So we're going to do number 1, and then we're going to come back together and look at number 2 and see how numbers 2, 3, and 4 are a little bit different than the ones we've looked at so far. Okay, but first let's start with number 1. If you want to write that down, go ahead and try and work it out. I know we haven't really worked with the negatives yet, but see what you do. Then we're going to go through it, and then we'll talk about the others. Okay, so come back to me as soon as you're done. All right, so let's take a look at this first problem. Okay, I'm hoping you can see my screen. Sometimes it's hard to tell, but I think you can. And so here's basically what we are looking at. N divided by -2 plus 2 is equal to -2. That's a lot of 2's. Don't let it throw you off, okay? So we have division and we have addition. We want to undo this problem. So first thing we're going to start with is by getting rid of any addition or subtraction, okay? So the opposite of +2 is -2. Keep it balanced by subtracting 2 from the other side. Don't forget your integers here. -2 minus 2 is -4. All right. Now bring down what's left on the other side, which is n divided by -2, and of course bring down your equal sign. Here we're left with seeing division, which we're going to undo with multiply. Okay, so in this case, n was divided by -2. The opposite of dividing by -2 is multiplying by -2. Okay, whatever this number is down here, whether it's positive or negative, is what you multiply by. Those cancel. If I multiply this side by -2, I must multiply that side by -2 as well to keep it balanced. Okay, so bring down what's left. On this side, we've isolated the variable, so we should be done as soon as we do this computation. -4 times -2 is +8. Okay, so n is equal to +8. Let's go ahead and plug it in here. So if n is +8, 8 divided by -2 would be -4. Plus 2 should equal -2 if I got the right answer. So look at that. Is that right? -4 and +2 equals -2. That's true. That's true. So n really is 8. Okay. All right, let's go back to this worksheet. I'm worried that it's not showing you the same thing I think it's showing you, but okay, so number 2. Number 2 says, and here's another 2. 2 is equal to p plus 5 over -2. All right, so here's the problem. So take a look at this. Can you tell what's different about it? It's got addition and it's got division in it, but it's not like a problem that we've done before. And if you haven't noticed, it's because we've got addition here, but it's actually part of the division problem. Okay, and so this is an example of where we can't start with the addition in this problem. We can't subtract this 5, okay, because we can't get to it. It's part of a larger problem. And so in order to get to it, the first thing we have to get rid of is that -2. All right, so this is kind of an exception to the rule. I said you start with addition and subtraction, but only if you can get to it. Okay, so there's going to be problems like this where you can't get to it. There's going to be problems where maybe addition or subtraction are within a parentheses and you can't get to it. And so we're going to look at one of those in a minute. But in this case, you can't start with the addition because you can't get to it until you get rid of the division. Okay, so we need to get rid of the divided by -2 first. And how do we get rid of divided by -2? We use the inverse, multiply by -2, okay? And when we do, that cancels that -2 out. Now, make sure you multiply the other side by -2 as well to keep it balanced. So -2 times 2 is -4. Your equal sign comes down. Now bring down what's left, which now we have the p plus 5. Isolate the variable. How do we get p alone? We subtract 5. What we do to one side, we do to the other. Okay, so -4 minus 5, -4, -5 is -9. Bring down. And now your p's alone. So p is equal to -9. Let's see how that works when we check it. I'm going to make it smaller because I'm actually going to write this out. Okay, so the original equation was 2 is equal to p plus 5, but I'm saying p is -9. So -9 plus 5 over -2. So I need to work this out and see if it truly does equal 2. And so when I do that, my order is changed here as well, because how am I going to divide this by -2 if I don't first do this problem, the -9 plus 5? Okay, so here's kind of an exception to our order of operations as well. We can kind of think about these as in parentheses because they're part of a bigger problem, okay? And so -9 plus 5 is -4. Now I can do the division, divide it by -2, and -4 divided by -2 is +2. So I know I found the right answer for the variable p. Okay, I feel like this is a long video. I probably need to be moving forward pretty quickly. So let's go back to my worksheet. All right, we're going to go ahead and work on number 3. And you try number 3, and then we're going to go through 5. Okay, so go ahead and try number 3. Pause your recording, come back, and watch how I did it. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at number 3. -8 plus n divided by 3 is equal to -6. All right, so remember my goal is to isolate the variable. So I got to get rid of these two numbers in the correct order, okay? As of right now, I cannot get to the -8 as it's part of another problem. And so in order to get to it, I first must get rid of this 3. So I want to do the opposite of what's being done with this 3. This 3 is being divided, so I'm going to do the opposite of that by multiply by 3, okay? When I do, it cancels that out. Keep it balanced by multiplying the other side by 3 as well, okay? So this is going to come down. Your equal sign comes down, and then -6 times 3 is -18. So there's my next line. I want to get n alone, so I need to get rid of -8. Now this sometimes tricks some people. You see this addition sign, and so you want to subtract. You want to do the inverse, right? But here's an important thing to note. This addition does not belong to the 8. It belongs to the n, okay? And really, all it's telling you is that the n is positive. Really, what belongs to the 8 is the sign in front of it, the negative. So I want to get rid of -8 by adding 8, all right? The number is always identified by what is in front of it. So the opposite of -8 is +8. Do that to both sides. -18 and +8 would give you a -10. Bring down. It's a positive n. I don't have to put the positive in front of it, so I'm actually done. N is -10. Let's check our work. -8 plus -10 is -18. -18 divided by +3 equals -6. I got it correct. Okay. It's just going to take some practice. You know, if you go back and you check your work and it's not right, redo the problem. See if you can figure out where you went wrong. Okay, last problem, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. We may have to make a third video or another video to talk about some other issues. Actually, you know what? Changed my mind. Let's take a look at number 11. Okay, so we're going to work this out real quick. 4 times the quantity, 3 minus 5k is equal to 72. So I'm going to write that down and then we'll work through it. All right, so here is number 11. We haven't really done one of these yet that's got the parentheses inside the equation, and so I want to make sure we understand how to do that, okay? So kind of like the problem before, this is walled off, okay? It's in a parentheses and we cannot get to that. And so really, we've got a little work to do first. We have to prepare this problem to be solved, okay? Now, there's more than one way to do this, and the way that I'm going to go through it is what you're going to use when you do more challenging problems, okay? So first thing is we're going to get all the value of this out of the parentheses, okay? And the way we're going to do that is we're going to do this multiplication. Notice this 4 is right next to a parentheses. And anytime there's a number next to a parentheses, that means to multiply. So if we multiply the 4 across the parentheses times everything in that parentheses, the parentheses will disappear, okay? And we're going to get the values out that we can then work with, okay? That's called the distributive property. You're going to distribute this 4 across the parentheses. So we start here. 4 times 3 is 12. Now this first parentheses is gone. Same thing here. 4 times -5k. Okay, 4 times -5. So we're really just going to multiply the two numbers. 4 times -5 is -20 and bring the k with it. Equals 72. Okay, so I didn't change this side. I just kind of changed how it was written. But I haven't manipulated. It's still 72. Both sides are still 72. Okay, but what I have done is I've gotten rid of those parentheses, which then gets the values out to where we can work with them. Now we're going to follow the correct order. We're going to start with addition or subtraction. Notice this minus 20k belongs to this. And so really this is just a -20 times k. This is multiplication, not subtraction. I know it's strange, but the more you do, the better you will get at identifying these things, okay? So really, we've got this 12 just sitting here that we need to get rid of. There is a plus in front of it, okay, because it's a positive. So we're going to get rid of it by subtracting or putting negative 12. Now it's gone. If we subtract 12 there, we subtract 12 from this side to keep the two sides balanced. 72 minus 12 is 60. Bring down. Now here's an important thing to note. Remember, this minus belongs to the 20. So with the 12 gone, we must bring down the negative sign as well. Okay, because that if we didn't, that would look like 20K, and really it's negative 20K. All right, last step. We see multiplication, so we divide. K had been multiplied by negative 20. Now we're going to divide it by negative 20, which cancels and leaves K. What we do to one side, we do to the other. Divide by negative 20. And 60 divided by negative 20 would be a negative 3. That one was a little bit more challenging. Okay, let's check our work. What we're saying is K is negative 3. So I'm going to rewrite this over here. 4 times 3 minus 5 times negative 3 is equal to 72. All right, so I rewrote the equation, and I took the K out and put the negative 3 instead. Now I'm going to work through this problem. Really, I'm going to work through this side and see if it does equal 72, now that I put my number in. So here, let's do 5 times, and actually this is a negative 5 times negative 3 is a positive 15. Okay, I'm going to bring my stuff back down. Positive 15 plus 3 is 18. 4 times 18 equals 72. Okay, the more complicated the equations come, the harder it's going to be to check. Depending on what calculator you're using, you could just type it in exactly like it looks here, okay, and hit enter, see if it equals 72. But it's really not a bad idea to go ahead and work through them as well, and you know, get your order of operations down. So all right, so I feel like let's just look at the worksheet and see if there's anything else we must go through. I'm gonna make another video, I think, going over solving equations with terms on both sides. I think this one's long enough, and we've covered 2-step. I don't know if we've done 3-step. Let me see what else I've got here. Hopefully you can see this. We'll cover this one in the next video as well. Okay, so just kind of reviewing a little bit. When you're solving multi-step equations, whether it's 2-step, 3-step, 4-step, we're still doing the same thing we learned in our videos the other day. We're undoing the problem. If you see multiplication, you're going to divide. If you see division, you're going to multiply. Addition, you're going to subtract. Okay, you really got to pay attention to the signs in front of the number, because they tell you what's actually happening with that number. When solving multi-step equations, you must do them in the correct order. So typically, you're going to start with addition or subtraction. Then you're going to undo multiplication, division, and then finally you undo exponents, square roots, if those are in there. We didn't look at any of those today, but we just really kind of did addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division in 2 step equations. Some of those exceptions you may have noticed where we couldn't start with the addition and subtraction, we had to start with something else to get to the addition and subtraction. And so watch out for those. Practice. I don't expect that you're just going to get it right after watching this video. You're going to need to practice, and you're going to need to struggle, and you're going to need some help probably. So let me know what questions you have. Again, I'm gonna go ahead and make another video going to the next step of equations, which is what happens when there's variables on both sides of the equation. Okay, how do we deal with that? So I don't know. Let me know what you think, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, and I'll see you soon, or maybe you'll see me soon.